Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. Tonight, I'm inviting Brother Marcus Muhd on the show so we can talk about the debate between Biden and Trump that took place last night. Brother Marcus Muhd, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir, for having me on. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm great. And, man, I want to congratulate you on a nice, wonderful mass fashion show you put together this past Sunday. A-Tone Productions, man, it definitely went down. All the wonderful guests, the singers, the entertainers, the rappers, the models, the designers, it was on.
That was the wonderful thing, brother. It came out exactly as was expected to. It's a success, and I thank you for your contributions to the program.
Oh, it's all good. Now, look. So we had a debate, right? And this is what I'm noticing, right? You got Trump and that Mark Jackson, Mark Jacobs, pastor out of Michigan. Then you got Biden and Reverend Claiborne, right?
Right.
Then you got it's a racket. Because on one side you have the red, other side you got the blue, just like the South, the North, the Confederate, the Union, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the middle of the racket is the minorities, which represents the ball that they hitting back and forth over the net on the court.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yes,
sir.
And it's funny because now check now this is the topic, right? When it comes to race, because the race is the ball, right? Trump accused Biden when Hillary Bill and when Biden when they were working together, how they were behind calling blacks super predators.
Yes.
Then Biden accused Trump of when they in Charlotte, when they had the protest, and he was saying you could see the vial and the veins coming out of their neck and the racism, and Trump, you said it was good on both sides, right? So they both batting the ball of racism back and forth on the court, but the only thing is that the ball, which is the black, brown, whatever minorities, don't realize that you can't play the game without the ball. So if the ball just get off the court, they don't have no game to play.
Right.
So
I don't realize that.
Yes, sir. You say the ball don't realize it?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The ball don't realize that all it has to do is get off the court.
Oh, yeah, you right. So what can wake the ball up, brother?
Oh, knowledge, brother. That's it. It's real simple. The devil does his dirt in plain sight all day long, every day. That was one of the first things I learned from Young Elijah Muhammad's teachings, is that the devil is simply what the scriptures call him, a master arch deceiver. And when you deceive, you lie in plain sight. And you create a narrative, a story, a concept, a perception that is false. And you sell it, and you give it, and you enforce it. So it's the knowledge of who the enemy is, and then it's the knowledge that they cannot harm you or your well-being if you challenge their lie, and if you challenge them for being the liar. Because once we come into the knowledge of it, then we have the challenge of overcoming that lie. Mm-hmm. Because we have been bred in fear since we've been over here.
Right. It's funny how the same atmosphere that was taking place before the Civil War, right?
Yes, sir.
Because you had blacks fighting on the Confederate side, and you got blacks that was Trump, and you had majority of the blacks that supporting Biden that represents the Union, right?
Right.
And now you're hearing Trump send that dog whistle to the Proud Boys, and the reason I brought that up is because today I met a elderly black female. She was a Trump supporter, and she brought up the Proud Boys, saying that, she said them white boys gonna get them guns and they gonna protect this Constitution, and they gonna protect America. And she felt like by them doing that, she would be protected, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it's like you got some people, and I'm talking about even Hispanics, minorities. You got some minorities who know Hispanics who will vote Republican at their detriment, I guess, because they feel like that's their best way to fit in. I'm not sure. And you have blacks as well who feel like the closest that they were in unity and the more secure they felt is when they were under white oppression, white Jesus, white rule. Then you have the other side who understand who the true and living God is, who understand that Jesus was a man of melanin, and they want their own manifest destiny, right? And so when we have these shows, and now it's just like the atmosphere, Civil War, because the blacks and slavery was right in the middle of that, and now today the race is right in the middle of that, and you have these two mindsets of black people going against each other now, and when you stated earlier by the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which teaches you to be upright and independent, then it's the Malcolm and Martin over again. One is saying, okay, let's integrate. One saying, now let's separate and go build the land of our own, right? Now, how do you feel that we can unite these two mindsets when it said that by us being united would be more powerful than an atomic bomb?
But God has decided that He will send these wild, radical white people against us to force that on us because we don't want to see our way to doing it on our own.
Mm-hmm.
There's something wrong with us so deep that we can't unite on common sense. Even in the face of a gunshot, we still will not do what's necessary to overcome our condition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these people are acting out of natural born survival. If you took them out, they are more aware of the end of these current times and ways and the conditions that we all experience than we are. Meaning, in other words, the white privilege game is going out.
Right.
The white supremacy game is playing out. They are more aware of that than we are. And then they are more responsive to the fact than we are when we find those of us that are aware of it. I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, right. So, I got you.
Mm-hmm. So they are a strong fabric. They have their tapestry together. So even if one is going one way and the other one is going the other way, they still together.
Right.
Tight. Because they know it's survival.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see ourselves at that point yet, even though we've been there before them.
Right.
It's been about survival since we were put in the bottom of the slave ship. It's been about survival. Okay? But we still don't see now this different type of survival dynamic is coming onto the scene due to the times and the conditions of the time and the demands of the time where we would have to be independent. We don't have a choice anymore to be a slave.
Right.
We don't have that as an option anymore because they ain't got nothing for us to do.
Right.
Even if they wanted to, they're coming up with AI and all kind of other things that just simply pushing us out of the labor market. If that's all we want to do is work for them,
Right.
So what are we going to do?
Right.
We have to first realize by the knowledge of the time and what must be done that we have to pick up where we are, figure out what we can do, what we are good at, what we are passionate about, and come up with a way to earn a living by it.
But makes a lot of sense. And you
Once you become, I'm sorry, go ahead,
no, bro. You say once you become.
Once you become self-reliant, then you have time to think about it. Then you have time to plan. Then you have time to help others. Then you don't have to be so emotional about what somebody else is doing. You know, that envy and jealousy that we got going on in our community.
Yeah, over nothing.
Over nothing. If you self-reliant, you doing what you do, you happy doing it, and you take care of business, you don't have time to be hating on what another person's doing to achieve the same objectives in their life.
Right.
So we gotta adapt to the time. We gotta stand up to the times, which demands that we become self-reliant.
Right.
Self-respecting comes after that, or before.
Right.
Self-love.
Now, as time progressed forward, and those that are stuck with that slave mind, and I'm going back to Harriet Tubman, who said, "I freed 1,000 slaves and would have freed 1,000 more if they knew that they were slaves." And so as time progresses forward, one, those who are aware to what you said, who know internally and instinctively that they have to overcome certain obstacles to put themselves in a position of strength and power so they can do for themselves. Then you have those who aren't aware that they in a slave mind because they haven't ventured outside of their comfort zone and ventured and traveled beyond and learned different cultures and different sciences and mathematics and different ways of life. And so as time moves on, those that not even aware that they're being ruled by a slave mentality that's been passed down generation from generation ever since the slave master pulled that one who could speak well and put his old coat on his back and made him a preacher and put him over the blacks on the plantation, and he passed that knowledge down. And when he passed, they passed it down to that next generation, and they passed it down to the next generation. They passed it down to the next generation, and it's still prevalent today to where a teaching had to come to maybe it can wash their brains and they pick up on a new knowledge and they can think differently. But if not, as you stated, as we progress, there's no need for a slave mind in 2020. It serves no purpose. All right. So,
no.
At all. So, yeah, period. So I'm trying to think, wow, it's only one way out for those who don't even realize they have a slave mind. Is that either you start reading and get yourself together, or you will implode internally, self-destruct, and you will go insane. Because you have nothing to hold you up with to give you strength, because that mindset has been totally deleted and depleted.
Right.
Okay. So the second. Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead. Second what, bro?
Now, if I say the second part is those who are aware, but who are afraid, or who don't have the confidence within self to believe that they can go at it on their own. What you think about that, brother?
Or they just haven't looked enough, brother.
Okay.
You're not here in the world and don't have something that can take care of yourself with. That you guys, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you were born, you were given life with a purpose. Everybody got a purpose for being. The God don't do nothing without a purpose. That's us. We do shit. Damn, I almost made it through.
That's all right, bro. Yes, sir.
But guess what?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that last one we did for Fashion, Master Fashion. I was like, man, I'm proud of myself. I guess because I was trying to take care of real business.
Right.
And no profanity, brother, but
Right.
I take that one back.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? Let me get back on the compass. No, bro. We don't realize that we come into the world with a reason and a purpose because we walk around having the form of God and denying His power, as the scripture says.
Right.
We don't believe that we have a purpose like God has a purpose. Or we keeping God so much that we think God doing things because He's a magician and He don't have a reason for doing this and this happening and that happening.
Right.
Well, hey, we still in bondage. We want to blame the God and say to God, ain't no God, because why would He let this happen?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
Or can there any good come out the hood?
Can any good come out of Nazareth?
Yeah.
Yeah, some good can come out of the hood of Nazareth.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? South Nazareth's got plenty good in it.
That's right.
But South Nazareth got to be like the raw gold with the dross on it. It has to be cleaned up and washed out and polished up and put to use.
Right.
Because gold ain't just to hang around your neck. You can do it if you like. But you can run clean, pure water through gold and come out the other end clean and pure.
Come on.
Pipes. You feel me?
Come on.
The God don't create nothing without a purpose. He damn sure didn't create human beings without a purpose.
Come on.
So you got to realize what you're here for. Once you realize what you're here for, can't nobody tell you nothing after that. It's over. It's a wrap. You understand? You focus. You own it. You passionate about it. You got it. You got a plan together. You working it. Next thing you know, you 30, 40, 50 years old. You ain't know how fast the time went by because you loving life.
Right.
Doing what you love to do so much. You ain't worried about it.
Come
and
on.
the devil is like a string tied around your pinky finger. You didn't realize he was here.
Wasn't even there, huh?
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You got to realize what you're here for.
Come
and
on.
get busy.
Come on. That's what I'm talking about, bro. See, and I know we talking about the debate, but I wanted to go down that road. That way people can understand their self-interest or their voter self-interest if they choose to vote for, as they say, the lesser of two evils.
Yes, sir.
But you don't step into that voting booth, or you don't mail in those ballots without knowing who you are and your purpose, or else you just doing something just to be doing something.
Right. And a voter is not useless.
Right.
Even though you talking about the lesser of two evils, it's still not useless.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because if your enemy got a weak left and a strong right, you rather take that left and counter.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I used to always say throughout this whole little road through, Trump is the best thing ever happened to us, and he was. Because I've never seen so many black people thinking consciously, thinking about some politics, thinking about knowledge, even just thinking, period, how are we going to get out of here? How are we going to deal with this? Let me look and see what I can do because we can't go to work. This pandemic, this, and that's holding me back there. I got to start creating with my mind.
Right.
Trump was a good thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I'm saying? God had a purpose for Trump, and Trump served his purpose. Now, I used to say, hey, I'd rather a fighter to hit me in my face and to tell me I'm finna hit you in your face than somebody standing behind me and just slug me in the back of my head. Because that person that's standing behind me is slugging me in the back of my head is a slithering coward. He's no fighter. He don't want to compete.
Mm-hmm.
He already know he gonna lose if he stand in front of me and challenge me for real.
Mm-hmm.
So Trump was the best thing for us. So now what do you do now, though? It's time for voting season. It's time for election. What do you do now with the an opponent that would dare to stand in front of you and say, look, you're a nigga.
Uh-huh.
And I'm a white person. And I feel like I'm supreme. And I wanted to stay that way. Matter of fact, I wanted to go back to chattel slavery. And this is what I'm going to do for that. You see what I've been doing, right? So what? What? Now, a vote is like a one-shot pistol.
Uh-huh.
You got one shot. You can't do nothing else but shoot that one shot. Where you going to shoot it at?
Right.
Now, if somebody stand in front of you and challenge you like that, now the question is, what are you going to do about it?
Right.
It ain't just about me saying, hey, I'm glad you told me that. Now we have to respond. And if somebody say, I'm finna hit you in your damn face, what do I do?
Right.
Vote season.
Voting season. Yeah. You're right. I absolutely. You know. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's why I say vote your self-interest, because when I'm looking at the mindset of so many of us, how you have so many of us supporting Trump, as he stated last night in the debate, that he's doing good with the black community. I never thought, but people are voting. I guess some voting out of fear, some don't know what to do. Now, this one lady, she told me that the reason she was voting for Trump because he was against same-sex marriages and the LGBTQ, and she's following her Christian beliefs, and she's standing with him because she's saying that it would be against her God if she stood with the Democrats. You know, and I'm like, okay, that's your voter interest then, okay? Because at first I was like, well, how can you say out loud that you standing for Trump? And she said, well, my God told me to stand against anybody who is not representing his word. And I said, okay, well, that's your self-interest. Okay, I can't judge her.
Right.
You know, and she made some other points on why she's rolling with Trump. You know. And, because she was saying that, she told me to look it up. She said that, oh my God, what's the man's name? Supposedly he's saying that, if I gotta look it up, that if they don't care about pedophilia, as long as the person is 10 years older than the victim. Something to that.
New California law. Right?
And I didn't hear that. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, nobody in their right mind would even entertain such a thing or even make that into a law. Gavin Newsom, I think she said.
Right.
So
supposedly it's supposed to. Go ahead.
No, I'm about to say there's some validity in that.
Well, they did it. You know, but supposedly it was supposed to protect. Say, for instance, if you had a young guy who was 18 and an incident took place between him and a young lady who was 17. One is legal age and the other one isn't, but they only like 1 year apart.
Okay.
That's the way they slid in the Trojan horse.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, she got a point, but we can't cherry pick our personal interests at the same time.
Right.
Because that's just playing the lesser of two evil game. If that's what you want to do, that's our business.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's not going to solve a damn thing, because the people on the other side of the aisle is just as foul as the one you voting for. Right. You got to remember that.
Right. Right.
Incidentally, Biden is the one who is not getting the credit for bringing up the Proud Boys, because he didn't have to throw Trump that alley-oop. He did it. But everybody's pumping up the Proud Boys who are white supremacists, and they probably got a slew of new recruits because now they're worldwide instantly. But that's not because of Trump. That's because of Biden. Why did he do that? So you got to watch people, man. You got to watch. Of all militias, of all domestic terrorists, why the Proud Boys?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
Why Kamala?
Right.
She got 47 billionaires backing her during her presidential run. Why Kamala? Kamala. Why not a pure, what do you call it, descendant of slave,
Right.
female?
Right.
Why not? Because that's what people are really interested in when you start talking about a black running mate.
Right.
You're not talking about someone who's half this and half that and just got here last generation, and that's not who they're talking about. Somebody who's picked up style of the DOS. They're talking about an actual descendant of a slave that got that experience in their blood and in their heritage. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Why? You got to watch these people, man. You got to watch these people. It's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You got to watch the other aisle. When you voting for this one, you got to already have a plan in mind. If you think the one you want to win, what are you going to challenge them to do for you?
Right, and that's the key. What's your agenda? What do you have for them? Why you not bringing up food deserts within the communities? Why you not bringing up stopping the sex trafficking? You know, why you not building better roads? I mean, stuff that really affect the community the true issues is not presented on the table.
We ain't got nothing on the platform. Because when you got the convention, you got to go on there and say, look, this is how many sex trafficking acts take place in my neighborhood. And in other neighborhoods that where people like me reside in, we want that to stop. And this is how we want this to stop. This is our plan for that. And we want this to be adapted and brought to Congress. Why are we not doing that? Because we still rely on our enemies. We're not ready to be self-reliant. We're not ready to have any kind of dominion as God ordained for us to have. We're not ready. So the God got to turn these crazy people loose on us and force us to do it.
And force us to be self-reliant.
Yes, sir.
Wow, bro. Wow. All right, but it is what it is. Now, I know you heard this in a debate where Trump told Biden in regards to Antifa, he said that they'll overthrow you and run you out of office. Just watch and see. As if he conceded to Biden saying the Antifa now is your problem and watch how they do you. Like they did me. You don't have no answers for them. And it was just like, wow.
That jumped out at me too.
You know.
And it just lets you know how these thoughts have just taken over this man's mind as he turned over in his bed thinking and sweating and contemplating, tripping and flipping through channels and shit and looking at polls, and he sees the end, possibly, very possibly.
Right.
You know, and he's pretty desperate, and it just came out of him. You know.
Right.
When you get in there, you'll see.
Yeah, you'll see.
Because and to some degree, he's already defeated in his own mind.
Right. That's what it is. Exactly. But the thing that gets me is they're saying, well, you know, if he loses, it's talks of a civil war. That his followers might just go crazy and you know, and that if he loses, he might be headed to jail. But if he does another 4 years, then that statute of limitations would be over, and he could walk away clean. So he's fighting
There is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
No, but I say he's fighting to stay in office. But what are you saying, brother?
He's fighting. He's fighting. He's scratching. He's biting to stay in office.
Right.
There is no conceding in Donald Trump, man. We gotta just go on. You gotta go on, swallow that pill, man.
Yeah.
As soon as we swallow that pill, and I'm saying we, but whoever that feel like they have something to do about it, or is whatever, we have to go ahead and accept it as a society. Put it like that. I know I'm involved in the society in some kind of way. There is no conceding in Donald Trump. He is not going of his own will. If he is reelected, and I don't know why I'm even having to say this to people, but we do have to say it. If he is reelected at the end of that 4 years, he will have come up with something that will keep him in office until he dies.
Yeah.
Because he looks at Joe Biden as a jailer.
Yeah.
Joe Biden don't mind locking people up. Look how many of us he locked up.
Right.
I doubt if he locked Trump up, but he's no stranger to locking people up. That thing in his mind don't faze him at all. Locking people up. You feel me?
I feel
soft crimes are hard. He can see people locked up and don't have a problem with it. Sleep well at night. You understand what I'm saying? This goes through Donald Trump's mind. This erratic person is thinking about this. Whenever he looks over there at the other side of the debate table, the debate stage, at this man. This is the man that could send me to jail one way or the other. All he has to do is win.
Yeah.
And we just need to go back and look at the inauguration ball and see how he punched the knife into that cake as if he was. I ain't gonna say that.
You talking?
Yeah, man, this dude is.
You talking about Trump?
Yes, sir.
Punched the knife into the cake?
Yeah, they got this little cake and stuff they bring out, or they brought up,
Right.
They were just doing a little dance and stuff at the ball, and he don't know how to act in these situations. He just became president, and he just kind of slammed the knife into. Well, he was playing, but he didn't really do it. But it's like he struck at the knife as if he was punching a knife into the cake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Damn, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the same one threw paper towel at the Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, we just gotta watch the football. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he's not self-contained very well.
Yeah, we on the cuffs of it, and a lot of people are getting ready. Some are afraid, some weary, some stressed out, some panicking, some don't know what to expect, but as you stated, the whole world is watching.
Yes, sir.
Trump done gathered all the center stage and all the attention.
Yes, sir.
Once again, on every news channel, they talking about Trump. And it's funny though, before we go, sympathy. Mm-hmm. Sympathy. On the right, they want sympathy for Trump because they said he's been maligned and beat up ever since he got into office. Then they, on the other side, they want sympathy for Joe Biden because of, the losses he had in his family, how Trump treated him and, and some of the gaffes he's made. And on both sides, they saying, hey, man, look at our two individuals that's running for this office. They both been attacked and ridiculed and, give them a break, have a heart. And it's like, man, come on, bro. And then,
to watch. Yeah, it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, yeah. And if you in any type of public, if you any type of public figure, that comes with the territory.
Right.
People go.
I was suffering for snacks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real, bro.
Yeah, it's like popping a piece of gum in their mouth and shit. And we talking about I was suffering.
Yeah.
But it's just so heartbreaking and so much of a terrible thing to see these two guys on the stage just going at it. Oh my gosh.
Right. Yeah. Please.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
put us on the movies and pit us against each other on film, shooting each other down in the streets and shit.
That's right.
And, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got no feeling about it.
That's right. And
they're animals.
And it's a shame because a lot of people, that's their only introduction to black people is through the films, and then they internalize that. And the other sad reality is when we were younger, a lot of these shows that we watched taught us how to fall in love with that white character on that screen and visualize that was the reality of how their culture was. Until you got around them and saw that they just as raggedy and nasty as anybody else on the planet. But on a TV show, Good Night John Boy, and they tried to write them in as though they were so pure and, oh my God, And then when you get out in the real world and you say, wait a minute, these not the same people that was on TV. They just screwed up as anybody else.
Right. They do themselves a real disservice, the ones that do that, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's better just to be honest with yourself and honest with others.
Right.
Than to try to be somebody that you're not, and then everybody realize what you are at the end of the day.
Right. You know
what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Right.
That's the ticket, man. Hey, and as well, and man, we're gonna, and I appreciate you for helping me film an up-to-date story with the mother of Jennifer Jeffley, which we'll do tomorrow. We'll have that for you all soon. We want to continue that fight for justice for Jennifer Jeffley. And those of you who don't know, please look up the Jennifer Jeffley case or what they aired on Crime Watch coming up soon. The Google A-Tone Productions. Go check out some of the pictures from the fashion show, the mass fashion show, wonderful event that we have. And before we get out of here, Brother Mark, anything you like to add, brother?
Thank you for having me on the show, brother.
It's on.
Just keep it rolling.
Verbal Creek Radio, we out.